Hello and welcome to Only Sign No File. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So, in this video, I'll be talking about mRNA vaccines. Vaccines as a basic concept and how it works is already covered in some other video. If you haven't watched that yet, I'll be adding the link in the description below. So, talking about mRNA vaccines are a newer generation of vaccines which help protect against infectious diseases. As you already know what mRNA vaccines are, it carries information about the protein it has to translate. Presently, these mRNA vaccines are the new hot topic as the new COVID-19 vaccines are based on these phenomena. That is Pfizer Biotech as well as Moderna. Both these vaccines are based on mRNA. So what happens here is
As mRNA molecules are being used, these are prone to degradation.
so what basically one has to do to prevent it from immune system destruction is that first you can do is codon optimization. Codon optimization is basically using modified form of nucleosides, that is instead of ATGC you can use some modified version of it so that it is not recognized. Next, what one can do is packaging these mRNA molecules into a protective nanoparticles. For example, RNA molecules enclosed in lipid carriers or lipid nanoparticles. So this is one example. So let's get to the mechanism. Suppose this is a virus or an infectious agent which we want to protect our body against. For example, consider this as a virus. These blue colored things are the spike proteins. Now what happens is these spike proteins help the virus attach to our normal human cells and then cause an infection. So what the idea is that we use these spike proteins as a target and synthesize mRNA molecules for these spike proteins. Now what next happens is we take this mRNA which is coding for the spike proteins and encapsulate it within the lipid carriers and then inject it intravenously into the upper arm. Now what happens is this mRNA vaccines, that is this particular formulation, is taken up by the cells of our body. Now this mRNA enters into the cell. Next what happens is it uses the host protein synthesis machinery and translates this protein in the cytoplasm itself. Either they can use the host machinery, that is host protein synthesis machinery, or there are some RNA
RNA molecules.
which codes for its own synthesis machinery and then carry out a similar process. After this protein synthesis, the new spike proteins are then presented on the MHC receptors. This is a type of antigen presentation wherein this particular mRNA coding for a particular spike protein is presented on the MHC cells. Now what happens is now these immune cells recognize these spike proteins and then via a series of steps synthesizes antibodies against this particular protein. The immune response, which produces antibodies, is what protects us from getting infected if the real virus enters our body. Now, what happens is, as I already mentioned, how basic vaccines work, there are obviously antibodies as well as a pool of memory cells which produces this antibodies. So what happens here is if in the subsequent stages, if the actual virus enters our body, there are already in the pool of memory cells which are ready to produce antibodies, and these antibodies prevent the virus from attaching our normal human cells and therefore prevent subsequent infection in the later stages. So this is how a basic mRNA vaccine works. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.